600,000 passengers per day go through Penn Station. It's the busiest transportation hub in America. And FIFA's like, yeah, you got to shut that down for 4 hours before matches. You can't be operating all these other trains and things. You just gotta be about us and getting our people out to MetLife Stadium in New Jersey.
Oakland County FC is now bringing you the World Cup coverage on this show, and they are celebrating 10 years of summer soccer of purple passion in Southeast Michigan in 2026. The schedule and tickets on sale now, and if you go to OCFC's Instagram page, you can enter in a all expenses trip, behind the scenes trip to Cary, North Carolina for the TST tournament. And
wow.
If you've been following them on Instagram, there's been quite a list of pros and stuff. And there's even a Pogba.
There's a Pogba. You buried the lead. There's a Pogba playing for Oakland County at the TST. That is a wild bit of news. American soccer stays weird.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So look up Oakland County FC on Instagram for your chance. You could even rub shoulders with Paul Pogba if he decides to come and pop in there. I've heard there's an outside chance.
Okay, just there to support his brother. It's Florentine Pogba that's going to play, right?
It's the one that they still are in communication with each other. I know there's a lot of Pogba brothers.
It's not the trade one. It's the good brother. It's the one who played in Atlanta. He played in Atlanta for Atlanta United. Yes,
Florentine. Yeah, exciting times. Yeah, like you said, a sentence I never thought I'd say, but there you go. And you have a chance to win those sweepstakes. There's about a week left to enter into that sweepstakes. All right. To the World Cup news, there's been significant impact, or there will be, for host cities across the United States when the World Cup is on. We got a couple big ones, but we're going to start with Penn Station, probably the busiest rail hub in North America, or the United States, is going to be closing to the public for 4-hour windows on matches out at MetLife Stadium. Just a wild impact on the everyday person. Once again, hey, Jason.
All right, so this is me relying a little bit on a quick search and what Google is giving me via artificial intelligence. Okay, so, somebody wants to double check my work here, feel free. But Penn Station, not just rail, Rob, buses, lots and lots of buses, 600,000 passengers per day go through Penn Station. It's the busiest transportation hub in America. And FIFA's like, yeah, you got to shut that down for 4 hours before matches. You can't be operating all these other trains and things. You just gotta be about us and getting our people out to MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And this is from CBSNews.com. MetLife Stadium will host 8 World Cup matches, including the final in July, but soccer fans will have to rely on mass transit because there won't be any parking. You can't go park MetLife Stadium. Oh, by the way, I also saw a note. People are upset that there's not going to be any tailgating at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, which to me, okay, I kind of get it. Tailgating is, it's not really something we attach to soccer, but there are tailgating cultures in soccer in America. The tailgate in DC for years and years and years out of Varsity Stadium was incredible. And I think it was Lot 8 is where they held that tailgate out there in DC. I went a bunch of times, Barra Brava, La Norte, Screaming Eagles. And so we're not doing that. FIFA's like, no, you can't have your culture because your culture's not soccer-y enough for us. Oh, and by the way, also we're going to shut down Penn Station for 4 hours so that we can just get people out to New Jersey for this. Regular New Jersey Transit customers are already concerned. I love this phrase, CBSNews.com. That's going to be a pain in my butt. That's what I think, Jeff Gallup said.
Oh, they put a name on the quote. It wasn't just fan or...
My man Jeff Gallup was like, that's going to be a pain in my butt. And he's probably right. I mean, it's the best way to say it, Jeff. I agree with you 100%.
Do you think they edited Jeff on that quote? Do you think he said maybe the ASS word and they softened it a little bit?
He is from New Jersey. They say possible. He could have said something slightly more risque and something slightly less polite. And they were like, oh, let's just change it to butt for Jeff. Okay. Little Ferry resident Michael Carter Jr. said it's going to be quite a nightmare. I can only hope that they provide a better plan or better commute for the commuters that are paying the daily rates. So this is not great. There are people saying it's going to be necessary because of the security out at MetLife Stadium. So this is one of the knockout effects of the World Cup. And by the way, this is not we're talking about transit pretty much all over the country, wherever these games are happening, Rob. I know there's stuff with the Boston Stadium, which is not in Boston, there's also some news out of Massachusetts.
Yeah, there's news out of Massachusetts where the service from Boston to Foxborough, the stadium itself, which usually costs $17.50 round trip, will cost $80 on match days at Foxborough Stadium, which is another outrageous gouging. But you said there's some reason why there might be that.
Okay.
Boston trying to recoup some costs, but another massive impact on people trying to go out there.
Yeah, the MBTA, which is the Metro Boston Transit Authority, they are saying that this is basically because we had to invest $35 million in upgrading service to Foxborough because of the World Cup. And, I guess if you were a World Cup fan already paying thousands of dollars for tickets potentially, then this is going to be just kind of feel like they're piling on. At the same time, like there are tourist taxes in pretty much every place that has tourists, right? You go and book a hotel room, you ain't paying local prices, you're paying tourist prices because you're from out of town. And hey, you're coming in and using our services. And while we're happy to have your money, that's a strain on our town, our city, our community. I don't know. This one doesn't rub me as wrong as what FIFA is doing, trying to extract money from fans.
Well, that's the main bad guy in the room, right? It's FIFA, and they're trying to recoup these costs from taxpayer money. And so I got to say that we got to get some sort of a catchphrase or a mantra for what the city council people did in Foxborough to stand up to FIFA and not foot the bill. Like, we got to come up with a catchy phrase like pull a Foxborough or something like that, because what these two side-by-side cases are with the security costs that they refuse to pay in Foxborough, and then this with the transport authority in Boston, it's the small town guys said no in a situation obviously that the folks in Boston went ahead with.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should. Again, the fact that FIFA extracts and does not actually put anything in is extremely distressing if you have any sense at all of what burden is on the communities that want to host games. I know that, Rob, you shared in our Slack that we use to plan the show that there are plans for what the Bay Area is going to do their watch parties. I think they got their Fan Fest kind of planned out a little bit. We've heard the stories about the Fan Fest in Jersey. At first it was going to be free, then it was going to be $10, then it was canceled. There will be other Fan Fests. I look, this is going to be, for lack of a better way of describing it, a DIY World Cup. Now, FIFA's going to go and do their fancy show, and they're going to sell tickets for thousands of dollars, and maybe they sell them all, or maybe they don't. We certainly know that there are games that have higher demand than others, and whatever. You kind of have to just, and I know there's more controversy on tickets, which we'll get to, but you kind of just, if you're not going, let them have it. Like, whatever, F FIFA. They're terrible. We don't like them. But I like the soccer, and I want to make peace with watching the games. So where do you do that? You do that at, if there's a free fan festival, go, sure. But also just like find the restaurant for the country that's playing. Like find a restaurant that is owned and operated by people from a country playing in a World Cup match. And I'll tell you will have a blast. You will have a blast watching the World Cup. Or look, again, people probably already have a lot of this going on. I can throw a rock and probably hit a restaurant that for 12 or 15 different countries playing in the World Cup this summer. Like, they're going to be events. People are going to gather. There are going to be exciting things to participate in. And it's probably better to avoid FIFA at all costs.
Isn't that another hollowing out of the middle? Like, there's going to be the big fancy corporate shindigs, and then there's going to be, like you said, a DIY approach. I mean, for example, right here, we're in the Oakland County FC sponsored segment. I'll say, there's going to be a watch party. I pitched a whole tour of going to various cities across Oakland County, which is a big place, but we're definitely going to have some at some sponsored locations, and hopefully a little bit bigger than that. But to your point, people are going to do their own things at a certain point. And then maybe you have your favorite watch party bar I'm thinking about, at least for some games, putting a projector on the garage and having folks out there. So definitely opportunity for DIY approach to
I
this.
just found out the best soccer bar in America is maybe 20 minutes from my house.
Oh,
I've been there several times. It's a pretty good soccer bar. I was a little surprised to hear it named the best soccer bar in America. And I'm not
is that a
really.
list from a guy that went to like 10?
No, it's a thing that a certain media company that exists in America now
Is
covering
it a rights
soccer.
holding company?
No, it was founded by a couple of gentlemen who hail from the land of Rob Kerr, actually. So that they decided to do a best soccer bar in America. It's cheap heat. I mean, it was very smart on their part to like make this official, the best soccer bar in America contest. But yeah, every year they hold the contest, people vote. And this year, Four Courts in Arlington, Virginia won the title. So shout out to Four Courts, I guess. Maybe invite Morning Kickaround out there. I know you're getting that Men in Blazers love, but Morning Kickaround's okay too.
Yeah, I love this show, but I've only been to soccer bars in a handful of cities, and there's some great ones out there, and that would be a great thing to add to the list. We, visiting stadiums and whatnot, but visiting, doing a great soccer bar tour would be awesome.
Real
But
quick, because it got brought up. Vienna and have not been there to watch soccer. Have been there to buy kegs when I was maybe too young to buy them. Let's quickly move on. Also,
shout out
should we
Globe Pub in Chicago.
Globe Pub. I have a Globe Pub book somewhere in my office here. When I visited the Globe Pub years ago,
Man, the old days of social soccer and going to the Globe afterwards. That's glory days right there.
There's one in Portland, Oregon I visited that has a hanging Wayne Rooney doing a bicycle kick, which is very cool. I can't remember the name of that. Sort of like authentic English food. So anyway, sorry, we're naming soccer pubs now. We got more more World Cup news.
More World Cup news. Actually, it's funny you were talking about the names of cities and foreigners being a little bit put out that like the Texas Stadium or the Dallas Stadium isn't in Dallas and whatnot. And I saw a story. I was trying to find it up real quick, but Japan, apparently the Japan either tourism board or the Football Association is petitioning the FIFA to correct the names of the cities because they were upset that at the inaccuracies, the false portrayals of where the games were.
Yeah, there's a whole story at The Athletic about fans saying that they feel like they've been scammed. And look, it's easy for us as American soccer fans. I mean, the thing I will give Johnny Infantino credit for is when he said that Americans are used to high prices, he wasn't wrong. He's an asshole for using it to FIFA's benefit because we hate it. But he's not wrong that we're sort of accustomed, normalized to high prices for our sporting events and for dynamic pricing and all that stuff, right? We are. And what I think a lot of us are doing, we just went through this exercise. We went through that thing that's like, well, I'm not going to go to games, but I'm still going to engage with the World Cup. And I live here, right? And I know the magic of America is there will be people celebrating the World Cup from cultures across the spectrum in my country. And if you live in a major metropolitan area, you're going to have so many options. Even a reasonable sized city has a lot of options for engaging in fans who are going to be very excited to watch the World Cup. So we can do that. People who are coming from abroad, who do want to be in the country of the World Cup, who want to experience that World Cup firsthand, who want to follow their team, all those people decked out in orange to follow the Netherlands. The Tartan Army is coming, Rob. Did you know the Tartan Army is invading America? They're coming. Are you ready? Those people, they're not used to this, right? They're not paying thousands of dollars to go see Rangers. So when they show up and they're, well, I got to pay thousands of dollars for my tickets and I got to pay thousands of dollars for my hotel room. Oh, and also that hotel room is 45 miles from the stadium. What are you talking about right now? Like, that is blowing minds, and I feel for those people.
Yeah, I mean, that harkens back to the tailgating thing. Because, I mean, a lot of American stadiums, why do we tailgate? Because we have to drive out of the city centers to get to them. But then we want to experience the culture together and the bonding of the shared experience that is going to a game. And so stripping that, the people from out of the country probably are like, I want to, be right there and have the walk to the game. The drink at the bar and the walk to the game is one of the beautiful things in life. And then, an American substitute to that is, parking in the massive parking lot, hanging out with all the people around you, having fun and a drink, and then walking into the stadium together And where is the communal experience here in all this? I mean, obviously, once you get in there, I'm sure it's great, but you're going to have some ad breaks in the halves now, which, takes away from that group experience. And there's probably we'll see what happens with the VAR and how that's executed and if there's any delays there. But there's other news to get to today. So we'll wrap this up by saying Oakland County FC, thank you for sponsoring World Cup news. We are celebrating Oakland County FC's 10th year on the field in Southeast Michigan. Bleeding Purple. Tickets available now. And also visit the Instagram page for Oakland County FC to enter the sweepstakes for an all-expenses behind-the-scenes trip to Cary, North Carolina to the TST. There's about a week more to enter that.